record today. Alright, so from next time, please remind me to start recording. And today we discussed a lot of things. Now I have just clicked on the record and that's why it's showing the session being recording. Alright, though we have discussed a lot of things today, actually, we could have recorded. But never mind, we will just share the previous recordings, last session's recordings. Okay. Alright. There are two more things before I move ahead to there are two more things I wanted to discuss about streaming. Okay. First is what happens if you do not mention any reducer. Okay. It is completely okay in this command. In this command, it is absolutely okay not to have reducer. In that case, the output of the mapper will not be sorted. Hadoop will not do the major weight lifting of sorting the data. The output of mapper will not be sorted at all. Alright? And the data will go as is into the you can see that we will have this. Let's say we remove the reducer from this. Okay, remove the reducer from this, and we also remove the not output folder, we remove the number of reduced tasks. Okay, so what we are trying to do, we are removing the reduced tasks as well as we remove the reducer command. Now we have only mapper in this thing. Okay, and let's change the folder output folder to 2. Okay, 2 is now this one does not have any reducer, so let's see what happens. Now it says that there are two splits here created on top of it, so it is completely okay. So there will be no sorting, okay, and no reducer. Okay, let it finish. So it did not actually do anything as part of reduce. Why did it have a reduce task anyway? Let's see what is there in this folder. Let's go to our folder. So there is this part here. Well, let's see, is it sorted, not sorted, what has happened? It's actually sorted. It's actually sorted, yeah. So the documentation is wrong. The documentation says that if you do not specify the reducer, then it does not do any kind of a sorting. All right. So basically, even though we have not specified, okay, yeah, only final computation is missing. Okay, although as per the documentation of the thing, if you see, okay. So basically, if we say explicitly that it don't have any reduced task, then it will not have the, okay, yeah. Now it makes sense, yeah. Now we have explicitly said that do not run any uh, reducer. So if we do not want to use MapReduce, how are we going to solve this word count problem? By bringing the file into Unix file and then running sed and count. Yes, running sed and then running sort. So we will say if we have to do the same thing what we just did, we will without MapReduce. What we'll do is I'll show you this part. This just next slide contains that command. Okay, next slide contains that. Yeah, we are not doing any sorting in the mapper. Okay, it's the Hadoop which is doing the sorting. Now if you go to this folder, let's go to that folder. Okay, what happened? Where did we mention two? Okay, let's just have a look what's going on. Okay, now this time it has not sorted the data. It's as per whatever it was given, it is as per that part. Okay, you can see this. All right, and there are total number of two input splits, and therefore it has created the two parts itself. Okay, sounds good. So if you have to specify explicitly that total number of reduced tasks have to be zero. All right, all right. Now yes. So let me quickly answer Chandra's question. Let me jump ahead and then we'll come back again. Okay. Now, this is how we will do if we have to do it manually, locally. Get my input file, pass it to the mapper, sort it, and then do the run the reducer and save it to the output folder. Okay. If we have to do the same thing without using, all right. Yeah. So our all the Unix commands like wc everything actually works on the local file system. They do not straight away take the data from the HDFS. But you can mount an HDFS locally and then you can use these tools. Okay? Just like you mount a network file system, similarly You can also mount an HDFS folder locally onto your machine and start using all the commands as if it's just another file system. Okay, I'm answering to Chandra's question. Can it be done by keeping the file in HDFS? What happens if we sort in Mapper? It is up to you. Okay, in Mapper, even if you sort it, it is going to again sort the whole data because your mapper is always given a single line at a time, right? Your mapper is given single line at a time. You will be sorting that single line or bunch of lines because your mapper will be running on multiple machines in the network. This file is spread across all the task trackers, and every task tracker has created input split on top of the blocks, and for each input split, for each line is being passed through your mapper. Okay, so even if your mapper is sorting those small bunch of text, again the whole thing has to be resorted and masked. That was Santosh's question. Srinivas' question is purpose of a streaming jar only for the word count or it can be used for any other purpose? Of course, it can be used for every other purpose. All right, not only for word count. 95% of the total uh, work could be done using MapReduce, using the streaming job. Le- okay, there could be hundreds of more examples I can give you. The way we were doing, I was doing the recommendation. We had Apache logs. Okay. From the Apache logs, figuring out user ID and session ID, user ID as the key and user ID and which game the user is playing, we prepared that using a MapReduce task. Okay. And this was done using streaming job. All right. And after that, this gave us the whole history about the user, and then we did a lot of churning just using the all whole project was done using the streaming job. The whole recommendation system was done using the streaming job. All right. Yeah, Santosh, yeah, you're right. We do not sort the data. It's the Hadoop which sorts the data. That's the only role Hadoop is playing. Hadoop is playing two roles. One, sorting your data. Second, executing your mapper. It's executing your mapper onto the nodes which contain data, and after sorting, running your reducer. All right, that's what Hadoop is doing. So sorting is mainly handled by completely handled by Hadoop. And how does it sort? Based on the key specified by you. If you are using Java, then you specifically can say this is my key, this is my value. But when you're using streaming, you give out the output of the mapper as key tab value. All right. Sounds good. All right. The second thing I wanted to discuss, one was what happens when you do not have a reducer. Second was, what was second thing I wanted to discuss? Mhm. All right. So yeah, the number of map tasks. Okay. So generally, you must have noticed here that the the number of map tasks would be based on how many blocks do you have in your network. Okay, say you have a big file, so your file is going to be split it into blocks, and these blocks are would be located on multiple nodes in the network, right? So generally, the way we were defining number of reduced tasks, we changed from 1 to 2. The same way you do not do for the number of maps. Number of mappers is decided by underlying framework, is decided by how many blocks do we have. Eh, okay, so it is decided by Hadoop how many maps you have. But having said that, Hadoop also gives you a control of how many mappers you want to define, and accordingly it will execute your task. Okay, you can define it, but it does not make much sense. All right, so let's take a break. Okay, did we figure out why did we got two outputs after making reducer to? Y- yeah, so basically there are two input splits which were created. Okay, and the output of the Hadoop, in case of no reducer, if you have reducer, then number of files created is based on how many reducer tasks do you have. If you have three reducer tasks, then there will be three files, output files. Okay, but in case the reducer tasks are zero, the number of output files is decided based on how many map tasks do we have. Here there were two map tasks, and therefore there were two files. All right, you can see that here launched map task 2 and data local map task is 2. Okay, and that's why there were two files. Yes, so it can be 2 or 20 based on how is your data separated. Okay, because all of these map tasks are performed parallelly, and therefore the output does not get sorted, and that is why it is stored in multiple files. Okay, whether exists in 2 files or 20 files, it anyway does not matter to us. In case it mattered to us, we could have used a sorting technique. Okay, all right, sounds good to you. Okay, before we take a break, is there any question left which I have not answered? So no question left. All right, so let's take a break and back by